Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information, visit betrayawealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
My name is Mark Owens, George Politarhos, right out the gate strategies for federal employees, because it feels like, man, the needle is moving. Headlines every single week about what's happening to our federal employees. Some people taking buyouts, some people getting laid off. So what are you telling the federal employees that are listening right now?
It is a scary time. And federal employees right now, unfortunately, are very nervous and scared. Whether you work for Social Security Administration, DOD, the post office is a whole separate entity that we have to talk about. They're concerned. So there's a lot of changes. And most of us don't like changes, Mark. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but we have that muscle memory that kicks in, that we're used to going to work at 7, work until 5, come home, routines, and our jobs are the same thing. We do a tremendous amount of business with federal employees. And the reason I say we do such a high volume of business with them is, as a federal employee, you're unique. You're a different animal. First, I want you to talk to us. When you give us a call at 302-330-2166, let's take a breath. Let's take a step back. And do me a favor. Don't do anything rash. Let's not just sit there and say, I heard this from them.
The headline said this, so I'm going to believe it. That clickbait, there's a lot of it right now.
Correct. It's a lot of it right now. Let's sit and take the facts down. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see if you're concerned about your employment, if you're going to be terminated, given leave, have a VERA, voluntary early retirement option. If they're going to, let's see what the plan is. And let's take the steps together to get you there. The one thing we always talk about is our job at Betraya Wealth, and my team's job here is to inform, enlighten, and the most important part of that part is to educate you. Mm-hmm. Educate you and get rid of all the misinformation about, well, if I retire today, am I going to lose my pension? They're going to take away my pension. I don't have a retirement account. Federal employees, Mark, to call it a thrift savings plan. I don't have a TSP anymore. They're going to take it. Let's just take a step back. Let me help you get the right information for your situation. And that's another thing that's important. You are not like the Joneses and the Smiths. You are a unique individual. You are the Politarhos. You are the Owens. Let's look at your situation, your family, and how we're going to work your benefits to benefit you. One step at a time. We're here to hold your hand and guide you through the process to see where we're going to go. Maybe you're one of those federal employees who got this, they called it the fork retirement, where you left, you stopped working now. They're going to pay you all the way to September and possibly the end of the year, just the way you're getting paid right now, and then you go into retirement. If you did, how are we going to plan for that?
Yeah.
Am I going to keep my TSP where it is? Am I going to roll it out? Am I going to start my income from there? Do I sign up for Social Security? Big question is people ask when they took these buyouts, can I get another job? I'm only 55 years old or 53. I still need to work. Is there a penalty for this? Most of the time, the answer is no. Not all the time, but most of the time. Let me give you the answers, because we always say at Betraya Wealth that retirement's really gray. Gray being confusing. I'm not sure about when I'm going to retire, how much I'm going to get. Can I afford to retire? What's going to cost me to retire? Let me show you what it looks like in black and white. Good, bad, or indifferent. You need the answers, right? We need to know where we're going. I'm not talking about going out and buying dinner tonight at XYZ restaurant. I'm talking about affecting your family, your children, your lifestyle for the next 30, 40 years. Let's work together, make the right choices to be in the right place.
Give the team a call. Take advantage of that no-cost, no-obligation Family First Retirement Plan. 302-330-2166. Speaking of asking the questions, George Politarhos, let's ask you a question. What is your why? What brought you to this point for the Betraya Wealth Group for serving the community? What brought you here?
And that's a great question, Mark, because I always ask my customers the same thing, my family members at Betraya Wealth. And what really made it personal for me is I got married back in 1993, and Leslie and I had a really busy first year. I mean, we got married, we bought our first house, we rescued our first dog, and Leslie gave birth to our oldest son, Alexander, all within 12 months. To say our heads were spinning is really an understatement.
Right.
Now, I am from Delaware County, right across the border here in Pennsylvania, and I'm very tight-knit Greek family, and I'm the baby out of 5. And my dad was a good guy. My mom were good people, great people, super people. 6 months after Alex was born, almost to the day, my dad dropped dead of a major heart attack, 62 years old. We've been without him now for 31 years. Dust settles after the funeral and everything. And my sisters and brother and I and our spouse are sitting with our mom. And we're just making sure, checking in on stuff, making sure everything's going along plan. And you find out that this woman who is such a strong person. So to find out that she's virtually homeless. They had no retirement planning, no savings. They thought Social Security was their plan. They were mortgage foreclosure. And to see the look of despair and lost, feeling like she was worthless, and she never was worthless. And the five of us took care of her for the next 20 years. We paid the mortgage off. We paid the cars, debt, you name it. She had no wants, needs, or desires. I just keep saying how she seemed defeated. Here's this woman as a bull, the old gray mare we used to call her, and to see her like she was ready to go to slaughter. And I don't resent that. That was our job as a family. That's what our job is. Mm-hmm. But it made me concerned. And the reason I do this is that there's not another wife, husband, child that says, what's going to happen when mom or dad dies? Leslie, we've been married, just celebrated 32 years of marriage. I won the lottery. She's my, I say beast. I guess I got yelled at by somebody saying, how dare you call your wife a beast? And I use the term beast as she's just fantastic at everything she does. Without her, I don't have a family. Mm-hmm. And her question is this going to be us? And the answer is abso-flippin-lutely not. The only thing you're going to worry about when I'm dead and been called home is I need the boys to control how much you spoil the grandchildren and grandpuppies. Yeah. That's all you have to worry about. She will have no wants, needs, or desires. She'll be able to do everything that we always planned on doing. And that's why I do this. We all think about tomorrow thinking I have time. I'm 25, I don't got to worry about retirement. I'm 45, I don't got to worry about planning for retirement. I'm 60, I got a couple more years. I'm 70, what the hell was I doing for the last 60 years? Yeah. And we laugh about, Mark, but it's, we plan more for vacation. I just got back from a great trip with Leslie up to Wyoming, for Jackson Hole, Wyoming. People plan more for these vacations, a temporary satisfaction, than a lifetime event of retirement. And that's why I do this. I want you to go on those great trips. I want you to think the glass is always half full. And I'm going to be the doomsday person because I'm going to look at things as the worst case scenario going forward. Mm-hmm. Whether is my Social Security going to be reduced in 2034? Am I going to be able to, go on the trips around the world like I planned on? Am I going to have money to live on and be able to take care of when my time comes? That's what our job at Politarhos Wealth is. That's why I do this. I want you and Gretchen, in Mark's case, to have a great life together and do everything you want to. But I want to make sure my team handles all the concerns for you because you've worked 90,000 hours roughly during our professional careers. We have another 90,000 hours of retirement time. We're going to make it great. And my job is to make it great. That's why I do this.
Well, George, in Greek, patria, it means
family.
George will say it always and often when you listen to the show. He says, I don't have customers. I have family members. When you come to work with us, you're part of our family. Well, George, what are your three key pillars? Because you want to make sure that we have enough money to last as long as we do. So what are the pillars, some of the strategies when building these retirement portfolios?
We put this in, it's a broad brush I use, obviously, but it has first and foremost be income, protection, and growth. And when I say those three, you got to understand it's like a river. And every river has a stream that comes off of it or feeds into it. Under income, we're looking at, today I work. I have a check come in every week, every other week. When I retire, where's the money going to come from to replace this money I had? Yeah. Which stream am I going to pull from? So I'm going to have a 401k at TSP. Great. 457. I have savings. Maybe I have Social Security. Maybe you're one of the blessed few. We just talked about federal employees have pensions. Maybe we still have a pension. So we're going to see where we're going to pull money from to fill our needs, our wants, and our desires. That's one thing. I had a customer call the other day, and she goes, I need to do this right now. This market is driving me crazy. I'm losing money. I'm 65 years old. What am I going to do, George? Protection. We're going to talk about the protection part here. How are we going to preserve those buckets for you? Is it all underneath the mattress at home? Of course not. Can it all still be in the market right now? Of course not. You need to have diversification, asset allocation to figure out where we're going to pull from and different buckets. Some of that is going to be in some safety and an indexed annuity, a fixed annuity where In the worst case scenario, when the world goes to hell in a handbag, I never lose a cent of this bucket.
And that's with an annuity.
Annuity, absolutely. They have a great place within our retirement package. They are not the package. They're parts of the package. So we have an indexed annuity, a fixed indexed annuity, an FIA. Over here, we're going to have this money in the market, because you still need some risk. Whether you like it or not, you still need some risk, folks. If we don't, we shrivel and we die. So we need to have a balance of the two. But we don't invest like we're 20 years old. We invest age appropriately. And how I always say, when I'm worried about something and I'm concerned, if you have a lot of money in the market, all your retirement's in the market right now. You're 70 years old, 65 years old, and the market is what has been going on. And you don't sleep at night. You're up in the house wondering, because good Lord, we just lost X this week. Oh my, I want you to sleep. So we're going to do proportionates. And then under that protection, you got to have another bucket. And most people have this other bucket of money that they're never going to touch. They're never going to use. It's going to stay there for them. And they say, this is going to be my long-term care. My concern when I get sick, I have X to use that. We talk about long-term care. That's a topic every customer, client, family member, when they come in this door, when we speak with you about your retirement, we're going to talk about taxes.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Social Security. We're going to talk about income. We're going to talk about Medicare, long-term care, and making sure you get to do what you want to. And if you don't want to talk about long-term care, I don't need it. That's fine. I'm going to talk to you about it, because your job, we just say earlier, is to think the glass is half full.
Yep.
My job is to think about your spouse. My mother-in-law had Alzheimer's, and we had a trust fund and long-term care plan in place for her. She lived upstate New York, and she suffered 6 years with this. Now, they had money put aside, but if they had just used that bucket of money, it would have been gone quite quickly. Mark, how much do you think long-term care costs on a monthly basis facility?
A good
let's take
one?
Alzheimer's, a good one. Let's go middle of the road.
Middle of the road, 8 to 10.
I was going to say, you're looking, paying where you want to go. We can go between $9,000 and $15,000, $9,000 and $18,000.
And that's middle of the road.
Month.
Oof.
So I have $200,000 put aside that we're never going to touch, and this will take care of my long-term care. Well, let's see. If it's $10,000, it's $120,000 a year. I have 14, 16 months of long-term care money that I'm not going to touch. Now, if you break your hip and go long-term care, okay, we're 2 years, 2.5 years. But that's my job. I don't want your wife to come back to your husband, your kids say, George, you did a great job building this plan. You helped them. Mom and dad had income. They had safety. They got to do the trips. They got to do vacations. Why didn't we go through all this money and not plan for something worse?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about long-term care, and that goes under that protection mode.
And it's something, too, we're talking about long-term care. That's family care as well. Before we got started
Absolutely.
This weekend, we were talking about the story with Gene Hackman and his wife. Like, she passed away, and the poor guy, just wandered around the house for a couple of days until he passed away. We're seeing it right now play out in front of us with Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis.
Man, the action hero from the 80s and 90s. And now, I read recently that he can't even speak anymore. For Bruce Willis and his family, they're kind of in a different tax bracket. They can afford
We're
to
all
take
not making, we all don't have that type of resources.
Yeah. But it can happen to anybody, I think
Anybody.
is the point.
And you need to prepare for it. And the way long-term care works today, folks, it's not your mom's or dad's long-term care. A lot of times what happens with long-term care, real quick synopsis, Mark, is you bought this policy and you didn't use it. You died in a car accident. You had a heart attack, plane, whatever. That money you had preserved for long-term care, where did it used to go? Back to the company. They kept the money. Today, you have a long-term, and that happens. You have a heart attack, you die, you don't use them. It goes to your beneficiaries. It's like another life insurance product. Leslie and I have it. We're 60 and 59. Well, I'm 59, she's 60, but who's cutting
Got
numbers
yourself
here?
an older woman. Nice job, buddy.
I did, yes. But we have a long-term care product only because I don't want to, if I go, I want my wife to be set up properly. I want my boys not to say, how are we going to take care of mom today?
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so important. And that goes hand in hand with the fixed index annuity, the safety money, maybe some bonds, but we have a plan. And then last thing we talk about, obviously, is growth.
Yeah.
We need to get bigger and stronger all the time. Are we going to use the current tax laws to our advantage? Maybe a Roth conversion starts to come in play here. We start converting some of this taxable income to already taxable that grow tax deferred or tax free for a remainder. Using life insurance, but it's about a plan. And what I think is really important is If you go work at a big box firm, you go to help work down the street with XYZ or ABC, and what they're going to do is say, okay, how you doing, Mr. and Mrs. Smith? You are 60 and 59. Great. This is the right plan for you. Have a good day. And they slide you down the assembly line. I'm not like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You're not like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We are unique, different animals. Your retirement plan is special. I always tease my friend Mark saying, I wear a size 15 shoe. Mark wears a kid's 6.
It gets smaller every time you make this analogy.
But what's right for me is not right for Mark, nor what's right for Mark is not right for me. We are different. And when you come and deal with my team, me and my team at Portrayal Wealth, that's how we treat you. Maybe you like chocolate ice cream. I like butter pecan, but we're going to find the flavor that you like. Mm-hmm. What plan works best for you? You want more safety? Let's look over this way. You want a lot more risk? Let's go this way. We're going to fit it to be what you are because we're building it for you. We're all different. That's the best part about this country we live in, this world. There's not another person like me or like you. And let's just have a talk about it. Give us a call, 302-330-2166, or go to Patria Wealth. That's PATRIA Wealth.com. Let's schedule that no-cost, no-obligation meeting. Better yet, stop into the office. We're at 501 Silverside Road in Wilmington. Come in, let's have a good cup of coffee, as my mother Betty would have said. Let's sit down and have that talk, just to talk.
Safe to say that it all boils down to income, protection, and growth, George?
Yep, we got to put tax in there, Mark. We're at tax season right now. You got to know what makes sense for you. Mm-hmm. We're getting those bills right now, right? We're doing our taxes. Hopefully we're having someone that's professional do it, not maybe with TurboTax for everybody.
What is your advice, real quick, as we're kind of in the tax season right now? What's your take on the robo-advisors?
It's a question and answer session. That's the biggest problem I have. And not that they're incompetent. I don't want you to think I'm saying that. But they're just filling out a questionnaire like I'm going to Sam's Club or Walmart. And when you work with a tax professional, we have a CPA in office, Ernie Calais. It's about making the plan work, making the questions that they don't think to ask. We just talked about maybe doing a Roth conversion. What I do when we talk about Roth conversions, I love to know the cost of everything, right? I want to know exactly what it's going to cost me, how I'm going to be in a better place. Give me the pros, George. Give me the cons. Give me the benefits, features. What we'll do when we're doing Roth conversions, we'll actually do your taxes for you, of course, but we do a pro forma going forward. So I'm going to do my taxes, and I'm still working. I'm still making X. I want to do a Roth conversion. I'm taking some qualified IRA, 401k, TSP. I want to pay the tax on it and make it into a Roth. So as it grows over time, it's totally tax-free. We do a pro forma tax return for next year, show you the conversion and what the benefit is going to be and what the cost is going to be. Because I think when people talk about the hot buttons you see now, Roth conversions, great for everybody. No, they're not. They're not right for everybody. And some people say, well, I can't do a Roth because I make too much money. First off, God bless you. Great job. Keep it up. But there's a loophole with the IRS tax laws, a legal loophole. That's how we're going to do it. I never break the law. I want to make sure we get the most out of the laws that are there within the laws. I do not look good wearing orange.
No, I've seen it before.
Just so you know. I've seen me. I look like a pumpkin. As we work within the law, we're going to get the benefits out of it. That's what it's like having a team concept. We have your managed funds in-house. We have an attorney do wills and trusts. We have a CPA to help with taxes and tax planning. We have the financial planning process. We have the total package. And it's all under one roof. Think about that. You work one of those big box firms and you ask your advisor, so what's the tax consequences of doing a Roth conversion? And what's the process to do this? And how do I benefit from this? You know what his answer is going to be? I think we should do a Roth because it sounds good, but I can't tell you the other questions because I'm not an accountant.
Well, I thought that you were going to say, well, it's different for every state. So let me check on that and call you back.
And that's when you're here, it's not different every state because we're in the state. I'm in Delaware. I used to live in Pennsylvania. Ernie's in Pennsylvania. We're in Maryland. We are here where you sit down across the desk from me, across the table with a cup of coffee, and I whiteboard it up for you, and that's how we present. So we know how that works. And that's why I think it's so important because they can't tell you that because they don't have the resources. Mm-hmm. Hey, George, I have a special trust. I have a special needs child or grandchild. How do I do a special trust for that child? Or how can I do the will the best way? Is it right to put my house in a trust? Should I start an estate plan? What should I do, George? We have the attorneys in the office to help make sure it's here.
Yep.
And then let's think about, and let's go, I know we're close on time. Let's take a step further. When something occurs, do we know where to go? When Angela and Betty, my mom and dad, they didn't plan well, right?
Mm-hmm.
They made a lot of mistakes. Doesn't mean they're bad people. It means they didn't look for the right information and have the people around them to guide them. But when dad died, do you think it would make better sense to have someone that knew where everything was in one house? We're with a couple in Westchester. The husband passed away 6 months ago. I was just at the wife's house, and the daughter's there who runs everything with the mother. We have everything here. She goes, we forgot about what dad's will said about X. Here's the will. How are we going to plan for this? We have tax obligations. Dad just died last 2024.
Yeah.
We have it here. It's in one shop. The kids know where to come.
One
The
less thing to worry
grandchildren know
about.
where to come. Less to worry about. We got enough crap in the world to worry about.
Yeah.
Let's try and take a step further to be in a better place. Smoother transition for people. That's what's working with Betrayal Wealth Group. Because where you are, we have been. I'm the baby out of 5. My older sister is 15 years older than me. Talk about a mistake. But she's 15 years older than me. I have 15, 14, 13, 11.
Good gracious.
So we have the whole spectrum. And I have my 2 sons with me, which is another generation to be looking at, with Jared, who's the head honcho, and Alex coming on board. So we have the whole spectrum covered. We're in one house. We're in one building, and we can help you plan. Give us a call. Come take a look at the office here, 302-330-2166. Let's have a no-cost, no-obligation sit-down just to get a peace of mind started. Let's plant a seed and see where it goes for us. But it's about making sure your retirement, your future, the next step after you're gone for your family, that's my wealth, is Leslie, Alex, Jared, and Mr. Archer. But let's get that transition going and set up for it.
Insurance and annuities offered through George A. Politarhos, Delaware Insurance License Number 1373121. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.